You've got to know the bitter to taste the sweet. Step in of the cold before you warm your feet. You gotta be chained down to be set free. Got to know the bitter to taste the sweet. Down from a branch and in of the dust, a snake of Eden she come to trust. Eve, my dearest, take a bite. Believe two wrongs can make a right. Know all that you can ever know. This knowing tree will make it so. Lies Latin off of a golden tongue. He calls that woman to come undone.
I used to be an electronic musician. I actually wrote music for video games for many years. No lyrics, just like action, adventure, underscore, all synthetic. And Beth worked with me. She did voiceover. And that was that was product. That wasn't really anything that we loved or artistic in any way. And we got out of music completely. And Beth noticed there was something missing, certainly for me, and went out one day after we had seen the David Lindley concert and bought me a bouzouki. And I said, thanks, it's got strings. I don't know what to do with this thing. So I wanted to learn how to play some songs. So we had a copy of Rise Up Singing lying around, which is, kind of the folk, sing-along folk music Bible from the 60s. And it turns out that it's full of all of these incredible classic old-time tunes. And they're simple. They only have a couple of chords. And yet they're very soulful and really enduring. So that's what I started to play, to learn how to play this instrument. And that started a long journey into really discovering the artists. So Mississippi John Hurt and Reverend Gary Davis and Elizabeth Cotton, and finding this wellspring of music that was so not only authentic in the feeling and the emotion that it conveys, but authentically American, and really really our history and tradition of music in this country. And I felt really connected to it. So that's where it started, was learning the tunes that way.
to a place where joys will never end. I'll fly away. Oh, I'll fly away. Oh, glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away.
Well, I follow close behind her. Good Lord, I tried to hold up and be brave, but I could not keep from crying when they laid her in the grave. Oh, I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by,
I'll fly away.
The writing process, Beth and I both write songs, and the writing process I think for both of us, starts with the words. So it starts with a high concept, with an idea of what this song is about. Like Bitter, for example.
Well, for me, I think I tend to get a hook in my head before I tend to get a hook in my head first. It's kind of usually where things evolve from, or a specific idea, and then the general idea for the song, then usually the hook, and then the rest. That's kind of how it works for me, which is true for most of my tunes, actually, when I think about it, yeah. And I've only been writing more recently. This last CD that we just recently put out is the first CD that has some of my material on it. So that's kind of been a new shift for us as a group as well, playing some of my tunes.
So we start with words, really. We start with prose, we start with words. The words, the language has a rhythm. The flow of the words has a meaning, and it suggests a direction for a melody. And I believe that a well-written song, you should be able to sing it a cappella with one voice, and it should still be powerful, and it should still work. So we start there, and we are pretty merciless with each other as far as our specific choices of words and syllables.
21 years together makes that pretty easy.
Right. And then once it's singable, the chords, once you have a good strong melody, the chords are really already built into it and they're suggested. And that tends to be what we bring into a rehearsal, is we'll come in and we'll say, okay, everybody, I want you to just listen to this song. And by the time we're halfway through the first chorus, everybody's playing already.
Oh yeah.
And
even less.
And,
yeah.
And that's kind of, and then we just start playing it all together. I mean, I think as a band, what really comes through when we perform is how we are together and the interaction between everybody.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Cheeks as red as the blooming rose, eyes the prettiest brown. She's a darling of my heart's day till the sun goes down. Shady Grove, my little love. Shady Grove, my darling. Shady Grove, my little love. I'm going back to Arlen. First time I saw Shady Grove standing in the door, shoes and stockings in her hand, her little feet on the floor. Shady Grove, my little love. Shady Grove, my darling. Shady Grove, my little love. I'm going back to Arlen. Now every night when I get home, my wife, I try to please her. The more I try, the worse she gets. Damn if I don't leave her. Shady Grove, my little love. Shady Grove, my darling. Shady Grove, my little love. I'm going back banjo string made of golden twine. And every time I play on it, I'd wish that girl was mine. Shady Grove, my little love. Shady Grove, my darling. Shady Grove, my little love. I'm going back to Harlan. Peaches in the summertime, apples in the fall. And I can't have the one I love. I won't have none at all. Shady Grove, my little love. Shady Grove, my darling. Shady Grove, my little love. I'm going back to Harlan. Shady Grove, my little love. Shady Grove, my darling. Shady Grove, my little love. I'm going back to Harlan. Shady Grove, my little love. Shady Grove, my darling. Shady Grove, my little love. I'm going back to Harlan. Hi, Shady Grove, my little love. Shady Grove, my darling. Shady Grove, my little love. I'm going back to Harlan. Shady Grove, my little love. I'm going back to Harlan. Shady Grove, my little love. Shady Grove, my little love. I'm going back to Harlan.
I very, very rarely write anything autobiographical. I always try to. Yes, I heard a thank God there from somebody. Yeah. Truly, that would be frightening. I always try to come up with a character. I always like to have a character first, and then I think that helps to differentiate the songs one from another. And that also, so when we're writing, we often come up with I think both of us do, we come up with a character that's our narrator, and we're always talking about narrative coherence and who's speaking, and does it make sense, given who they are, what they're saying. And oftentimes those characters will be, set in a historical period, in a historical time. But even the songs that we write that have a historical basis or are set in a historical period, we're still always trying to write about something that's relevant now. You mentioned Coltrane. So Coltrane is a song set in the Civil War, but the main theme of the song and the character of the song is someone who is joining an army, not because of any moral conviction or any sense of patriotism, but because there's no economic opportunity where they are, and the army is a way to get out of the going nowhere town where they live and get paid and get some skills and move on in life. That's still true. Yeah, does that sound familiar? Right? I mean, that's true now. So a lot of the young men and women that are going off to fight, in the desert overseas, it's not out of some moral conviction. It's a job.
And that's really, I think, the point is you take a song and it may be set in a past time in history, but there has to be something universal about the message of the song. There has to be something that really strikes the chord today in our contemporary life. And that's the most beautiful thing about digging deep into these old tunes, some of the old-timey tunes that we do, finding the ones that really resonate today, even still. And that's part of what we've been really enjoying in this process, is finding those tunes that really can mean something for us as performers and for the people to whom we're singing.
1, 2, 3.
one day at a time. Oh, 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 one day at a time. Oh, 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 one day at a time. Oh, 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 oh. I love this space. This space feels like a speakeasy. You know, it's got that underground sort of secret vibe going on, and it's wonderful. It's got that really warm feeling, and the people who are here tonight, you know, especially who are here for our music tonight, I feel like there's just this kind of club that y'all belong to. You know, we got to come on in and, you know, introduce ourselves to you and join the club. I've had that feeling for me.
What I love is when we pulled up in front, here's this old industrial building that has probably been a million different things over a century and a half or more, and we pull in and you walk in, you think you're going to walk into a machine shop or a muffler shop or something, and then you come into this incredible space. It's like some kind of it's like a speakeasy or some kind of like hidden, like when you're a teenager, you wish you could have a hangout like this for your friends. And but I love, a lot of our music is about reclaiming stuff from the past. And I love the idea of taking a space that might have been used for one thing and taking it over and using it for something very, very different, and creating an environment that is, for us as musicians, is incredibly welcoming and great, but also, building a community around the music. And everywhere we play, the places that really work are communities. We started at a farmer's market in our town, and that's actually where I first met Mark and Beth. And I begged Mark to let me come and sit in with them on the harmonica. And after 3 or 4 tries, he finally let me. And, holding that little case. And, so we'd be playing roots music. We'd be playing our roots music while people were shopping for root vegetables. And
That works.
yeah, no, it's a good, and but the Philadelphia Folk Festival, Falcon Ridge, New Bedford, these are real communities, and a lot of the places we play, the coffee houses, the song circles, all these different areas around up and down the East Coast and even into the Midwest. They're communities where people come back to hear music, including music they haven't heard before, and that's the precious thing. So many people are attuned to just hearing what they've already heard. And for people who turn out to hear new music that they're not familiar with, even though some of the songs may reach way back into history, but it's not a greatest hits album from your high school sophomore year. And we're very, very privileged to have audiences that are interested in hearing that kind of music.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You've got to know the bitter to taste the sweet. Step in of the cold before you warm your feet. You gotta be chained down to be set free. Got to know the bitter to taste the sweet. Down from a branch and in of the dust, a snake of Eden she come to trust. Take a bite, believe 2 wrongs can make a right. Know all that you can ever know. has been to me my glory through eternity. A headstrong king with heart and heart, never dreaming that a sea could part. You've got to know the bitter to taste the sweet. Step in all the cold before you warm your feet. You gotta be chained down to be set free. You've got to know the bitter to taste the sweet. You've got to know the bitter to taste the sweet. Step in all the cold before you warm your feet. You gotta be chained down to be set free. You've got to know the bitter to taste the sweet. Know the bitter to taste the sweet. Know the bitter to taste the sweet.
As far as our influences go, and I'll say a few, and then I'm gonna pass it around. For me, it really goes back to Mississippi John Hurt, Reverend Gary Davis, Elizabeth Cotton, Bascom Lamar Lunsford, Big Bill Brunsey, right? I mean, the really 78s and wax cylinders, the anthology of folk music. All of that music really resonates for me, and I find that it's just completely free of artifice, and it's so honest. Even the nonsense lyrics, even what they call folk lyrics, which are just collections of two lines at a time. If I can't have the one I love, I won't have, apples in the summertime, peaches in the fall. If I can't have the one I love, I won't have none at all. Those kind of lyrics that show up in like 10 different songs, all of that to me makes me feel really connected back to not just this particular kind of music, but music in general. The folk revival doesn't necessarily do it for me. I found that was a very white, upper middle class co-option of rural music, and then it was taken and it was turned into very political music when it really wasn't intended that way when it started. As to the different blues styles, I'm not so much a Delta blues man as I am a Piedmont blues man, and I had the privilege of spending some time with John Cephas, a great Piedmont guitar player. There's a lot more joy. I think you saw tonight in our performance that we really are about doing something joyous and bringing joy to the audience and being joyful ourselves. So we'll throw a little blues in there of the mournful kind, and I think you may see more of that going forward. But I think we feel like it's our responsibility to make people feel happier when they are here than when they came in the door. So influences?
So I'm the dark blues guy, I guess, because I mean, I grew up listening to, Rolling Stones, the band, Dylan, and I, being the musical archaeologist that I am, I'm always, when I hear stuff, I want to find out where it came from, and that's where I discovered Robert Johnson, Son House, Charlie Patton, and kind of immersed myself into that, and so there's a lot of that. That I'm coming from. I'm also somebody who feels like when I hear an instrument, I have to learn how to play it, which is why I play lap steel and sometimes mandolin and some other things. So I'm kind of all over the place. So.
1, 2, 3, 4.
In one glance I knew how to pick a man like you. Been warned enough to know to stay away. You throw around the kind of charms that should set off my alarms, know when to fall and where to play. From hell or high water, I swear come what may, make that pretty boy mine and
of the things we hear quite often from our audiences, and it makes me so happy that this is what people are getting from us, is that we have fun. You know, we really love to have fun. We enjoy each other. I mean, first and foremost, again, we talked about that before. We really,
Except this guy.
we enjoy performing together, and we love performing, and we love connecting with people in the audience. And again, the folk scene and the Americana scene, it's a really friendly world. And there's so much opportunity to connect with the people out there, whether it's really up close or whether it's a sea of people at a festival. And yeah, so we like to have fun, first and foremost. I mean, that's absolutely the first thing I would say.
Yeah, we take the music very seriously. We do not take ourselves very seriously. So when we're here playing for you guys tonight, it's you and it's us, and we're all doing something together here in the room. Like we're not doing something and you're here watching. We're all doing something. Everybody's got a part to play, and that's really important it's really important to us to break down that wall between performer and audience and really feel involved and connected with everybody. So so what we really want people to leave with is a sense of connection, right? That they know us better, that you know us better, and we know you better than when we all came in, and then we're happy.